Hi, this is week 7, day 3, and I'm just going to start and go through question 1 with you, which is 2 1/4 add 5 5/20. Okay, so think about what we did yesterday. We started off by looking at our wholes. We added those together so that we separate this out into working with the wholes and working with the parts. So we have our 7. So I'm going to get rid of those wholes so I'm not distracted and I can just focus on these parts that I've got. So I've got 1/4 and I've got 5/20. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to split 2 wholes into 20ths and into quarters. It's going to be easiest for me to split it into quarters first by halving it and halving it again. And then I'm going to split my next line in my next hole into 20ths by splitting it in half. And then I've got to have 10 in here and 10 in here because that makes my 20. Now, it's really important, and I've not done a very good job with this one, that these holes are the same size, okay? So I'm going to half this again, which means I've got 5 and 5, and half that again, and I've got 5 and 5. So I'm going to split 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can see, let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll put dots in so you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I've got 20ths. It's really important to double check that you split these into the right amount of parts. So I've got 1/4, which is here. I'll shade that bit in. And 5/20. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to shade in my quarter here on my 20ths because I'm going to work in my 20ths. And then I need to add 5/20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, how many 20ths have I got all together that I've added then? A quarter was equal to 5/20. I've added another 5/20. So I'll show you what that looks like. We're finding that common denominator again. Oops, a rather large arrow. So we said it was 4. We had 5. So I know that's 5 here. And we had 5 here now. Doing it in the abstract, obviously you're finding your common denominator. We're going to use 20. So we need to think about what we do to our quarters to turn them into 20ths. So if I look at the 4 times table, I know that 4 times 5 gives me 20. Remember, you've got to multiply your numerator as well, and you can see that that does equal 5/20. Now 5/20 add 5/20 gives you 10/20. And it's fine if you leave it like that, your answer like that, but some of you might be able to spot something that this fraction is equal to. Yeah, it's actually equal to a half, so you can simplify that into a half. So your answer is, what was the question again? Let's write it out down here. It was 2 1/4 add 5 5/20. The answer is 7 1/2. Fab. Okay. So next question. 4/6 and 1/12. Now, if I'm not, I think this question said find the sum of, and it gave you 2 fractions. Now, sum, this word, find the sum of. A sum isn't 4 add 6. You don't do sums. So if you had like 41 add 63, 723 add 492. We used to call these sums, but it's actually, that's incorrect way. That's the incorrect meaning of the word sum. The word sum means the total. So find the sum of 4/6 and 1/12. It means that you need to add them together, okay? And we need to start really thinking about the terminology that we're using here. Okay, 4/6 and 1/12. What are we going to do here? Yeah, we're going to find a common denominator. Now, can I simplify my 12ths into 6ths? I can't, because I've only got 1/12. But I can turn my 6ths into 12ths. And I'm going to do this in the abstract form. I'm not going to show you it in the concrete, and I'm not going to show you it in the pictorial, because I'd like you to start working in the abstract on adding fractions with different denominators, or having a go. Have a good go and see if you can remember what we're trying to do. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a common denominator by so that we can add our two fractions together. So I know that 12 is a multiple of 6 and that I can multiply 6 by 2 and that'll get me 12. So my new denominator is going to be 12 and I can pull this one down. This one's just going to stay as 12ths because it's already in the denominator that we want. And remember, we said that we also need to multiply our numerator by 2 to keep the value of the fractions same. So what we've got here is 8 twelfths, add 1 12th gives you, absolutely right, 9 twelfths. Fab. Is that question number 2? Yeah, question number 2, done. Lovely. Next question. Ooh, just drawn all over my hand. We've got a blank box, a missing box, and a denominator of 20. And then we've got this sign. And then we've got 2/5. Okay, what's this question? Rather than what's it asking you to do, what do you know about the numbers and the signs that you've been given? Have a think about it. Well, we know that this is 2/5. And we know that this is, well, we don't know, do we? We know that this is so many 20ths. The most important thing that you need to look at in this representation here, it's this, that sign there, because that means that it is equal to. Okay, so we know that these 20ths is the same value as 2/5. It's just a different representation. So we've got to look for a relationship. Now, can we look for a relationship between the numerators? No, we don't know how many we've got here. We can look for a relationship between our denominators. So let's have a look. We've got 5 and we've got 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, right, how many lots of 5 are there in 20? What would I have to multiply 5 by? Find a common denominator. Find a common denominator. What would I have to multiply 5 by to get 20? Yeah, in your times table, you'd multiply it by 4. Cool. So I know that 4 lots of 5 is going to give me 20, and these are equal. So that means that I also need to multiply my numerator by 4. Absolutely right. So I know this missing box is 8. So we've got 8 20ths is equal to, is the same as 2/5. Okay, and that's also another reason why you need to practice times tables, because they do come up in fractions so much. Okay, lovely. Last question. Question 4. Oh, rounding. Oh, we haven't rounded in a while, have we? Right, round. Ooh, what am I going to go for? 844 to the nearest term off the table. Whoops. To the nearest 10. Okay, again, if you've forgotten, number line. Look at the number that you've got, 844 to the nearest 10. So what's the multiple of 10 before 844? Move it along. Sorry. Multiple of 10 before is going to be 840. The multiple of 10 after is 850. Put your halfway line on 845. Then pop your number on 844. Is it closer to 840 or is it closer to 850? You're absolutely right. It's close to 840, so it rounds down to 840.